Hey, welcome to The Explainer. In every conversation we have, we're faced with a choice. And most of the time, we don't even notice we're making it. It's this tiny split-second decision between two totally different paths, the path of judgment and the path of understanding. Today, we're going to dig into how that one little choice can change absolutely everything. So this right here, this is the core idea we're going to unpack. And what's wild is how absolute it is. It says never. It's basically saying that judgment and understanding are like oil and water. They just can't exist in the same space. You get one or you get the other, but you can't have both at the same time. And that's a pretty powerful paradox, right? Because we all judge and we all try to understand. So how can two things that we do every single day be completely mutually exclusive? Well, that's the puzzle we're going to solve today. All right, so first up, let's explore that first path, the path of judgment. The source material we're looking at here describes this less as a path and more like a wall. It all starts with this tiny, instant act. We see what someone's wearing, we hear their voice, or we notice just one little thing they do, and our brain, it just immediately starts jumping to conclusions, often before we're even consciously aware it's happening. Now, this is a really important way to think about judgment. It's not about being a bad person. It's really just a cognitive shortcut. It's our brain trying to be super efficient. It sees something, matches it to a past experience, and spits out an answer before we've even thought to ask the right questions. And boom, this is the immediate result. The moment you land on that premature conclusion, the door to understanding, it doesn't just close, it slams shut. Why? Well, because you think you already have the answer. The investigation is over before it even had a chance to begin. So this single act of judging, it creates a very specific kind of world around you. First, it kills your curiosity. That lack of curiosity creates distance between you and other people. And that distance just reinforces your own assumptions, which ultimately builds that solid wall, making any kind of real connection pretty much impossible. Okay, so if judgment builds a wall, what's the alternative? Let's take a look at that second path, what we can call the bridge of understanding. This alternative path begins in a totally different place. It doesn't start with a quick answer. It starts with a quiet intention. It's the conscious, powerful choice to just try and see where they're coming from. Now look at this definition. It's the polar opposite of judgment. Understanding isn't a final destination. It's a pursuit. It's an active, ongoing process. You're looking at the exact same person or action, but instead of slapping a label on it, you're simply asking why. It's a hunt for context, not a rush to a conclusion. And here's where something really amazing happens. When you're genuinely in this state, when you're just trying to gather someone's story, their context, their why, that impulse to judge, it just vanishes. You're not even fighting it. It just becomes irrelevant because real insight is taking its place. This path creates a completely different world. It all starts with curiosity, which naturally leads to empathy as you learn more about someone. And that empathy, which is built on real context, it creates a bridge, a connection that lets real perspective and humanity flow between two people. So, what we have here are not just two different actions. What we really have are two entirely different self-reinforcing cycles. One is pretty vicious, and the other, well, it's virtuous. So, let's trace this vicious cycle. You see someone do something. You immediately apply a label, lazy, arrogant, whatever. That's the judgment. And because you now have an answer, you stop looking for any more information. And because you're not looking, understanding is totally blocked, which of course just makes it that much easier to judge the next time. See the loop? Okay, now let's contrast that with the virtuous cycle. You see the very same action, but instead of applying a label, you ask, I wonder why. You actively seek to understand. This leads you to gather all this context you didn't have before. And as you get that context, that initial need to judge is replaced by actual insight. And that insight just makes you more curious and understanding next time. So here they are, side by side. I mean, the choice couldn't be clearer, could it? One path builds walls, shuts down curiosity, reinforces our biases, and leads to isolation. The other path builds bridges, sparks curiosity, challenges our assumptions, and leads to real connection. These are two fundamentally different ways to move through the world. So, how do we actually use this? How do we take this idea from a concept in an explainer into our actual, messy, real lives? Well, it all starts with the very next conversation you have. And maybe this is the most important thing to get. Being judgmental or being understanding isn't some fixed personality trait. You're not stuck being one or the other. In every single interaction, every day, it's a choice you get to make, moment by moment. And that choice really boils down to one simple mental switch. It's the switch from a feeling of certainty, I know why they did that, to a state of genuine curiosity, I wonder why they did that. That one small shift, from a period to a question mark, that's everything. So, we'll leave you with this question to take with you into the rest of your day. Think about the people you're going to talk to, at work, at home, even online. When that automatic, knee-jerk impulse to judge pops up, which are you going to build? A wall or a bridge? Who will you choose to understand